I'm Elisa Parker. It is the 23rd annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival. We're based here in Nevada City and Grass Valley, California, in Northern California. Thousands of people are here. You should be here if you haven't been here yet, but it's really one of the best festivals of all kind, the largest of its kind. I love connecting with all of the amazing filmmakers and the subjects of the film, and super excited that we have here with us. Not only are they here to represent the film and they're in the film, but they're also going to be performing Sunday night as well for a community dance party. So we're going to talk about that as well. I want to welcome Rebecca Ramirez and Bernard Yen. Don't doubt the Trout. Don't doubt the Trout. That's what we say. Don't doubt the Trout. Wait, who came up with that title, by the way?
Well, we didn't come up with it as the title of the film per se, but it was something that we were kind of discussing one day, just our astonishment of the trout's resiliency and them able to kind of reappear after a fire or drought and just places that we thought were completely wiped out. And it's like, hey, don't doubt the trout. They're going to come back.
So you were both featured in this film. It takes place in Malibu Creek, and it is in the Los Angeles area, we should mention as well. So in this somewhat urban area. And then here's this fish, this resilient fish, as you've mentioned. So Bernard, you were like, this was your thing. Like, you're all about the trout. You got Rebecca into the trout. Tell us a little bit more about that, your passion around this, and how this gets summarized into the film.
Well, in no specific order, Rebecca, her passion for all of this grew, if I could take some credit, I guess because I have a preference for finding more obscure populations of fish or fish in strange locations. And so the whole experience really wasn't and isn't for us about just the fish, but exploring and canyoneering and just going on hikes.
Oh, yeah, you would take her all over.
So the fishing is not something that she had the level of interest in that I've had throughout my life, but the athleticism that was required and the sense of adventure and discovery. But so there's that, and then I'd like to bring it to Northern California since my heart is Northern California. I grew up in the East Bay and developed a fascination with trout and rivers and water when the family would be traveling to the Sierra. So, it literally could be just looking out the car window while going on a ski trip. But there were also summer trips where I would be on the American River or the Feather, or even a few experiences on the Yuba itself. So that fascination, as life went on and I found myself in Southern California, never faded away. And invariably, geeking out, if you will, with basic calls to the Department of Fish and Wildlife, a stroll into a local tackle shop or whatever. It became clear that there are hidden populations of trout in LA County, Ventura County, and what makes it really fascinating for us and motivates us is that these are fish with native genetics and that are really an aboriginal subspecies of the steelhead, which Northern Californians are more familiar with. But this was a fish that once flourished in Southern California and is just barely hanging on in minute numbers. And a lot of these populations are landlocked, and that's mentioned in our movie.
Right.
So it's one thing to try and, walk the creeks and streams right under Pacific Coast Highway, thinking you're going to see a 10-pound fish. That's really just shy of a total fantasy. But the original and same genetics persist above different dams and barriers all over Southern California. And so,
did you know how did you first get connected to Malibu Creek? And did you know about this? There's this dam there that has no really water behind it, as you would see. Like, we have dams here all over California, right? And there's big reservoirs. That's not the case at Malibu Creek. Like, I mean, talk about not doubting the trout. They are resilient, given what they're dealing with in this creek. But yeah, so first, how did you get connected to Malibu Creek?
Well, for me, that of course came through Bernard, but I think he should maybe take that question.
I'll take it in that it's really kind of a scary response in that when I first moved to LA, beating my head against the wall known as rock and roll, not even thinking about whatever my youth in Northern California as an angler and as a trout fanatic, I saw an article in the LA Times talking about catching trout in Malibu Creek. And this was at a time when the regulations were not evolved enough to protect these fish. And it was a little more liberal, so I was intrigued. And so my first experience was actually legally fishing for a fish that really no one should have been harassing, I feel guilty to this day. But since then, that, translated into just a curiosity. Like, I can't believe I'm in LA County. I can't believe I'm in this, I'm a stone's throw from a famous surf break. I'm a stone's throw from the Jack in the Box.
Right. And
I'm catching a wild trout. So that eventually I began to reach out to different people. One of them, a gentleman named Jim Edmondson, who is one of the sort of pioneer cow trout field biologists. He recently passed away, but he's sort of a SoCal legend when it comes to trout studies, and a lot of these people are very engaging, and so he helped enlighten me. Edit.
so sorry. I think we might have to do it over. Sorry.
Cat got your tongue. So, but he enlightened me in many respects to trout in Southern California, especially again with native genetics and where these hidden populations were, and it kind of grew from there.
And for me, having delved into fly fishing and going on these jaunts with Bernard throughout the state, and then
he took you all over.
Yes, and then became one of these conversations of we enjoy fly fishing, right? But what else can we do as anglers? Bernard, through his sort of obsession with trout, taught me just all of this information about the southern steelhead and these other populations of trout throughout LA County, and with Ringe Dam, we were just kind of right place to do some documentation for cow trout for some of their purposes, and for state parks with who are the lead on removing Ringe Dam.
And now you are, sorry, I've lost my voice, but now you're incorporating this to your music as well. So can you tell us about that?
Some of that, it came organically in the sense that as fly anglers and in the fly fishing community, there are various events that they would ask us to play some music for, which we love because it brought two of the things that we enjoy together. And then, we were playing for Patagonia, the brand, and we would be at various events for them, playing for them. And so it just all kind of, it's been growing together in a very organic but wonderful way for us, because conservation is very close to our hearts, and while also playing music, which brings a lot of joy to many people.
And that was how we met Isabella, the director of the film, was at a Patagonia event in Ventura. And so it was super organic, where she was she was intrigued by, well, what are you guys about? And somehow it inspired her to create this film.
That's fantastic. I mean, we've had Patagonia's supporters of this, and Yvonne Chenard even coming here. It's also, right now it's more important than ever in storytelling and music and how we shape our culture and shaping the world we want to see right now. So you're doing such a wonderful job. of highlighting that, and also just through, the specific story of the trout and something you care very much about, and I think that's key. I mean, what would you want to share with everyone about why this is so important to know this story, to know about this trout species, and how that can help inspire us in our everyday lives too?
Yeah, I think for this species specifically, but there are many other animals, other species that could be the indicator species in an ecosystem. And for us as citizen scientists, we had glommed onto this fish, but an ecosystem that's healthy and supporting not just the trout, but the amphibians, everything. Like, we all benefit from that as humans, and it's in our best interest as well to take care of these habitats for not only the fish and all species, but for ourselves as well. And so I think as citizens, not even experts in our field, I think it's important for people to kind of accept that role as well, to do something when they can do something, and we can almost always do something. So
we can always do something, and you're showing up in so many ways that bring joy to this and awareness. And also, you're going to be performing Sunday night at Oddfellows Hall with another one of our special guests of the filmmaker. Can you tell us about that real quick too?
So, well, our drummer for the festival, and frequently, depending on the show and the location, is Timmy O'Neill, Patagonia athlete and world-renowned climber. And speaking of sort of organic meetings, we were recruited for a few years in a row, including just this 2024, to add to the musical fare for a film festival in Laguna Beach called the Coast Film Festival. And he was one of the MCs. So fast forward, there was no conversation or anything. So fast forward to April of last year, we were invited to show the film at the 5 Point Film Festival in Carbondale, and they wanted us to also perform music. So it's sort of this combo meal, which is becoming a bit of a pattern that we love and we embrace. And they were not in the position to assist us with a drummer as far as supporting us bringing one out from LA, but they wanted to introduce us to the drummers that were available, and one of them was Timmy O'Neill, who was one of the MCs at the Carbondale Film Festival. And so the conversations were very entertaining, where it's like, wait a minute, you were sitting at the table while we were playing in Laguna Beach. We didn't know you were a drummer. You should have come up. You should have come up to talk to us. And he's like, I was looking at you guys saying, you guys need a drummer. And
sweet. I call it sweet synchronicities.
It was a sweet synchronicity. And we often play with a drummer, and we have great drummers that we perform with in Southern California. But that particular event was a very low volume and low key, so we didn't even feel compelled to bring a drummer to that show.
Right.
But
well, that's so awesome.
So he filled in that
He's
gap.
He's going to be here. So Timmy's going to be here Sunday night at the Oddfellows Hall, and it's a free show. It's a free dance party, which what a wonderful way as we wrap up Wild and Scenic later this weekend, and get to feature you both as well. I think that's fantastic.
We are totally honored.
Yeah, well, thank you.
It's so great to be with Timmy as well. He's like our spirit man member. He's been amazing.
Spirit man. We'll call him the Spirit Man.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, both Bernard and Rebecca, for being here. Again, it's called Don't Doubt the Trout. And we won't. And now I think more people are going to be going to check it out in Malibu Creek. And remove the dam.
It's coming down.
Remove this dam. It's coming down. All right, I'm Elisa Parker. It's Wild and Scenic. Thanks again to Rebecca and Bernard. Thank you.